Are you looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football and basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select two or more players, pick more or less on their projections for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the PrizePicks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/bluewire and use code BLUEWIRE. That's code BLUEWIRE at prizepicks.com/bluewire for a first deposit match of up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Cars.com. With over 2 million vehicles and 50,000 more added every day, Cars.com will match you with the perfect car for you, your budget, your life, your style. And if you're ready to say goodbye to your current car, Cars.com will get you an instant offer to cash it in. Just start by entering your license plate and get matched with a local dealer who will write you the check. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, just go to Cars.com. It's magical.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mavs Moneyball After Dark. It is 10:20 on Thursday, February 23rd. We're returning after a roughly 8-day break without official Dallas Mavericks basketball. They beat the San Antonio Spurs 142-116. Josh, how are you?
I'm good. This is a nice game to ease us back into things, although this game not having a lot of juice since now San Antonio has lost 15 games in a row. There were some moments in the first half where I was like, I still kind of feel like I'm on All-Star break. Like, because it was just kind of, it was kind of a whatever game. And then fourth quarter happened and the Mavericks just kind of went crazy on offense all game. So it gives us something to talk about.
Yeah, they pulled away. And realistically, this would have been a much longer podcast had the Mavericks not beaten the shit out of the Spurs. And I say that because the Spurs are fucking terrible. If you're tuning in and you don't know, the Spurs have lost now 15 straight games, as Josh pointed out. It's hard to do that, okay? It's incredibly hard to do that. And yet the Spurs have managed to. And so for a significant portion of this game, it looked like they would give the Mavs trouble. I mean, they out-rebounded the Mavs, if you'd believe that. They out-assisted the Mavs, if you'd believe that. They shot 52% from the floor, if you'd believe that. They had 66 points in the paint, if you'd believe that. And yet the Mavericks won. Now, why did the Mavericks win? Mavericks won because they have the better basketball players. And I think as we go down this stretch run in which the Mavericks play the Spurs 2 more times, we're going to have these nights where we come in here and we just go, well, the Mavericks out-talented the team that they were playing. And that's what happened tonight, because for every mistake the Mavericks made, the Spurs made 2. Like it was kind of uncomfortable to a degree to where the Spurs would do something stupid. Now, the Spurs hit a lot of like Garbo threes, but I don't know what to make of this game other than the fact that the Mavericks are the better basketball team, and that mattered in the end.
Yeah, I think it's just, the Spurs have the worst defense in the league, and the Mavericks lit them up so the Mavericks kind of did their job. Continuing the trend that, despite what we've been saying, or maybe more me, and despite it maybe not being as aesthetically pleasing as we wanted to, when Luka and Kyrie are on the floor, this offense is incredible. I mean, even with the 3 losses, like I think it's going to be fun to look up what the offense is doing when those 2 are on the floor. I'm going to probably do that when we're done recording just to see. But the offense is amazing, and their defense stinks. And that's just kind of how it is. And, this, you kind of summed it up. The Spurs had 66 points in the paint. Man, I think the Mavericks have given up at least like 55 points in the paint in their last 4 games.
I mean, they have an
now.
escort service to the rim.
Yeah, it's insane. So you would have liked it to be better, like, show some sort of resistance against a team that's 28th entering tonight in offense. And instead, the Spurs shot 38 shots at the rim. They were 26 of 38, so they were only a little bit above league average. So it could have been actually a little bit worse.
Yeah.
So,
they're going to lose some winnable games because of that. Like, this just isn't changing. I had an interesting, look, I love when y'all talk to me, but I had one person who I regularly interact with tell me that the Mavericks are deep when they're healthy. And no, no, they're not. I'm sorry, like McGee and Powell and other people, like, whoa, it's very, this team is gonna do something fun. I really earnestly believe that. But it's also gonna be really maddening to watch because for every brilliant thing they do, they're gonna also do something equally stupid. Now, the easiest path to the Mavericks playing better, and this is gonna continue to rankle people, in my opinion, is Luka shutting the fuck up, getting back on defense, and trying on defense. He is such a sieve right now.
Yeah, Luka didn't play in the fourth quarter, right? And I think that was probably the Mavericks' best defensive quarter.
It's got to matter. Sorry.
Yeah, so I actually, it was hard for me to get fired up about this game because it's against the Spurs. But man, the timeline was like, was not a fan of Luka's effort in the first
because he
24
did
minutes.
The shoulder shrugging shit, and he needs someone to tell him to stop. He picked up his 13th technical while arguing a foul and also giving up a basket. Like, you can't do that.
And then he had, did you see the guy, I can't even remember which Spurs player did it, that bounced the inbounds pass off of his arm and then got a dunk because Luka was like staring off into space on the inbounds play. Did you see that?
I did see it, and it's one of those, and it's one of those things where it's like, it's funny, and I'm glad we don't have to talk about it in a negative context. Because here's the thing, I earnestly think that once the games matter for real, Luka's going to try harder. So I'm irritated, but I'm only irritated because I believe that playing a certain way in games that don't matter or that matter less lead to playing that way when games do matter. The problem with that is that we've seen Luka Doncic at his young age show up and kick the shit out of teams. So maybe I'm wrong.
No, you want him to form good habits, and it's just, we've just been on a downward trend with him, at least with defensively. But offensively, this team's starting to feel like 03 Mavs a little bit, and just the way
hilarious.
Just these windshield wiper games. Like, they hit 22 threes on 42 attempts, so like they had a really good shooting night. This is also why, the only other thing really I want to talk about, Kyrie had another great game, Justin Holiday. Yeah. This is like, I'm not surprised. Like, he's a career 36% shooter. He's bounced around the league, but like when he's played on decent teams, he's been like in that 37 to 40 range from three. When he's gotten significant minutes. And so it's like I'm trying not to phrase this so I'm not like rude, but like, Dorian Finney-Smith shot 38% with Luka. And again, like, these guys are getting the most wide open shots ever. And like, this is why it's always been maddening when they kind of maybe don't close up the end of the roster like they should, because like there are guys like these like Holiday has been available forever. Like, he has not been a guy that's hard to attain. And it's just like, man, if you can get a guy that can shoot well outside of Dallas, like has a proven track record, like you put him next to Luka and all the open shots he's going to get. Like, there are people like, they were like, man, I don't know, he's only hit 34% of his threes the last couple of years. Like, yeah, well, he toiled in Atlanta this season and they're a mess. And he was on the Kings last season and that was before their ascension. Like, he's a good shooter. Like, he's been in the league long enough that he's proven himself as a decent shooter. And like, you're putting him next to Luka, who's going to basically spoon feed him the most open shots in the league.
Yep.
Like, come on, guys. Like, it's not that
Well,
hard. You know,
didn't
like
finish your
he's not
point.
good. Yeah.
I,
Wait, what were
I
you gonna
have to
say?
finish your point for you
Okay.
because you started talking about Dorian and you walked away from it because I don't think
Sorry.
you want to give the stats.
I'm
Dorian
sorry.
is shooting a crisp 4 of 15 from 3 since going to the Brooklyn Nets, which is 27%. And Dorian's rise to 3-point prominence came with Luka Doncic. That's okay. It is okay to be dependent upon a superstar. But that is sort of what Josh and I have been driving at for years, where it's what if, just what if you cared about the back end of the bench? Justin Holiday had hit 33s through 28 games this season. He hit 5 tonight. And there was no one within 5 feet of him anytime he took it. I doubt he's that open again, which is really great because that, like,
Right.
when that happens,
changes things.
Exactly. So, what happens if you build a team that actually fits the superstar that you have? Instead of building an 8-person rotation with 5 people that were also on the team the previous 4 years. I don't know. We've never seen it. So the Mavericks made a 2-for-1 trade and they have Kyrie Irving, and through through multiple games, these guys look ungodly on offense. And I mean,
Really
that's
do.
really right? That's a fair statement.
Yeah,
They're
it's
incredible.
No, it's been amazing. It's been great. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but yeah, I mean, it's been. You
It's
know
so
what?
stupid because
Yeah.
everybody, the online discussion is, well, how do these two fit together? Who fucking cares? They cook with gas.
And that's probably a little bit me. Like, I wrote a recap, I think, of the Minnesota game where I was like, it pissed me off, and I probably let that get to me a little bit. But like you said, yeah, it doesn't matter. They're just even if they're doing the my turn, your turn stuff, it just doesn't matter because they're the two most individually skilled offensive players, I think, maybe in the entire league in terms of just attacking one-on-one matchups.
Kyrie to start the fourth quarter using the triple threat position, so basic basketball stuff that you teach like middle schoolers and grade school kids. His back left foot is his pivot foot, so he's using his front right foot, and he basically puts Doug McDermott on his ass without dribbling. It was fucking incredible. And then he takes one dribble, then hits a 3, and it's the sort of stuff that is hard to explain. It's why other players talk about Kyrie with such reverence. And I've understood it. I understand it now. But watching what the Mavericks were able to do on offense makes you wonder if they could just defend a little bit, what happened.
Right. And that's probably, remember what we said, you can't fix everything at one trade deadline. So this is probably going to be what the summer is going to be about, is like, okay, with these two guys on the floor, you're going to obliterate teams offensively. Now let's just pick up, got 2 more picks to trade, let's try to find, some defense. So that's probably the plan. It's hard, it's hard when you do the 2-for-1, one of them's Dorian, this was going to be what kind of happens. It's just, people are mad about it, and there's not really any, there's not really any rotation changes they can do. Like, this is just the team they have, they're going to have to play these games until Maxey gets back. And even then, he's not going to change. He's going to help, but he's not going to transform this back into the top 10 offense it was a year ago.
He's not the flex all Band-Aid on the leaking, thing. Like, he's going to help, and he's going to make things fun. And you got to hope for the right matchups. Like, that's okay. That's okay.
Hey, I got the Kyrie Luka on the floor numbers. You want to hear how good the offense is with them two on the floor?
Expletive.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
They played 109 possessions. When Luka and Kyrie are on the floor, the Mavericks score 131.2 points per 100 possessions. They have an effective field goal percentage of 61.6.
Give me some context. Like, what is the best offense in the league right now?
The best offense in the league is probably scoring somewhere around like 118. Denver is scoring 119 per 100 possessions, and that's the best offense in the league. With Luka and Kyrie on the floor, the Mavericks are at 131.2 per 100. And the 61.6 effective field goal percentage
that's disgusting.
That's bananas. That's that's crazy. Again, it's only 109 possessions, so take that what you will, but it's it looks pretty damn good so far.
So, like my top end for this, and I don't remember which game of the finals this was in 2016, but it was the dual 40-point games for Kyrie and LeBron James.
Yeah.
And like that's what you need to like picture in your head for potential top end. And I use the word potential specifically because it's not just going to happen. It's rarely going to happen because basketball doesn't work that way. And so I think what we're going to run into kind of as a fan base is we're going to think from game to game, oh, this is janky. This is frustrating. There's my turn, your turn. And then you're going to look and they're going to have scored 34 points in a quarter. And that's really good.
Right.
This is advertiser content brought to you by Frito-Lay.
Hello, I'm Chip Murphy, here to get you ready for the big tournament. Tonight we'll break down who will be cutting. Cut! What are you two doing?
Sorry, Chip. Prez here got his feathers ruffled when I told him Ruffles has zero chance of winning the title.
And I was letting Dip know that she is not taking into account Ruffles' iconic ridges.
Guys, it's March. We have to start talking about the tournament.
We are. It is the 2023 Frito-Lay Snack It.
We're talking about big-time matchups between Cheetos, Smart Food, Lay's, Sun Chips, and more.
Just head to the Frito-Lay Snack Bracket and vote for your favorite chip, pretzel, or dip for a chance to win up to $1,000 or a year's worth of snacks.
This sounds great. Keep up the good work.
Just go to fritolaysnackit.sbnation.com. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends 4/3/2023. Void where prohibited. Year's worth of snacks awarded in the form of 52 coupons, each good for one bag of chips. See official rules at fritolaysnackit.sbnation.com.
Right. It is really good. So, and again, I think the my turn, your turn stuff actually isn't that bad when you consider how good Luka and Kyrie are at isolation offense. Like, we kind of get the my turn, your turn stuff like bad because you think about when the super teams first started originating with LeBron and Wade, the problem with the way those guys played, remember that first year, remember the first like 6 months, they were kind of just a little, their defense was pretty great, but their offense was a little weird. And it's because LeBron and Wade couldn't shoot. They couldn't shoot threes. So like doing the my turn, your turn kind of cramped a lot of what each of those guys likes to do on their own. And then they kind of learned, okay, we need to change. We need to play different. We need to move off the ball. And Wade did a really good job becoming like an off-ball cutter and screener and doing stuff when LeBron had the ball. And LeBron did the same thing. And they developed that kind of synergy to work around the fact that neither of them were elite shooters. And then another thing that helped was LeBron kind of turned himself into an elite three-point shooter while he was in Miami. So that's the thing. It's like, so from that, that's kind of stuck in my head is like, okay, that's why the my turn, your turn stuff doesn't work well. But then it's like, wait, when you've got two of the best isolation scorers in the league and both of them can hit threes. Now, obviously Luka is not a prolific shooter in terms of percentage, but Kyrie certainly is. Like, Luka isoing while Kyrie is standing in the wing or the corner might not be the most efficient use of their talents, but at the end of the day, it's like you've got one of the best spot up shooters in the league now, and Kyrie spacing the floor for Luka, who's one of the best creators, and then you do vice versa when you switch it around the other way. So that kind of sets a baseline that makes it pretty ridiculous. Like it's crazy.
And one of the things that I think has not been talked about enough and it's mainly because of sample size, but Kyrie's deference to getting other people involved early in the game is really important. He's really not looking for his own shot until the fourth quarter, and it's working. They're not. It worked tonight. I can see that. Like he did some stuff tonight where he found Luka for catch and shoots above the break while driving and kicking we just haven't seen that from anyone that wasn't Luka. And it's just going to become impossible to defend. Like the tape on the Mavericks has got to be, you just throw your hands up and go, well, do you just hope they miss? That's really it. Right?
Right. You hope Luka has a bad game from three. And by the way, he did. This. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. The one thing watching Kyrie, and I think I mentioned this before and you agreed, the thing that's like really impressive about his game to me that I didn't know, like, I knew about the shooting, his ability to get to the basket, his passing, his finishing, his ability to create something from nothing. Like we knew all that, but his ability in transition to be going at like 100% and then stop and pull up for a three and like have a picture perfect form and like make a 3-pointer like that. Like it's this sounds stupid, but like it's taking my breath away sometimes when he does that. When he gets in transition and he's pushing it and he's going as hard as he can, and then he just it's like a video game. Like he just stops and he's rising up and he's straight up and down. Like his balance is perfect, and it's like that's something that's otherworldly kind of talent, you know? Like that's just something that only comes from really gifted players.
It speaks to why, you know, like Andre Iguodala once sort of was like, what do you mean Kyrie's not in the top 20 in NBA history? I remember this when they were doing the top 75 in NBA history. And when you see these specific moments, it's very clear why players feel this way, because you go against it and it's art.
Yeah.
Because it's just because guys aren't, you get tired, your form breaks down. It's hard to really process like how fast and everything goes. It's like, and yet you watch it on tape and it's like, oh, that's why. It's why I love watching his free throw routine, because it never deviates. Unlike Luka, who looks different a fair amount of the time because frankly he's just, you know, huffing and puffing. And Kyrie just goes to the line and really sticks three. Did you see the pass that he made from it was like right wing, maybe kind of free throw line extended, where he pump faked on a three, pass fake to Dwight Powell, and then stuck him on like a 20-foot bounce pass for a dunk?
Like a one-handed bounce pass that he kind of like rolled it. You know, it was great.
Well, and if you're a Luka super fan, you're probably like, you're doing this when Luka did some of the wizardry that he did. And
that pass to Justin Holiday in the corner, another one of those, just like the ball just kind of teleports right into the shooting pocket from the opposite side of the floor.
Yeah, it look, guys, we could and we should. Like, frankly, I'm going to. Like, we just need to kind of come into these and go, what the fuck? That was awesome on games like this more often, because yeah, it was insane. I had a great time.
It's really funny watching Kyrie, and it's like, man, like I've been watching these games and knowing what you like about the game and what you appreciate about the game and like what your preferences are. Like, it's just crazy watching him. And in my head, I've been thinking, man, if this guy just like did not do anything weird off the court or harmful off the court, and was just like a normal dude on the floor, like he would be one of your favorite players. Like just the way he approaches the game when he's at his apex, you know?
Like, you can see why he's so many people's favorite player who kind of casually pay attention to basketball and don't fall down. Like, and I don't want to phrase it in a particular way, but like, if you don't pay attention to the news, I get it. You know, we made an executive decision to not cover Kyrie talking about like getting to pick his own workplace after signing a 9-figure contract. We made the decision to ignore covering that because it like delves into insane person stuff, because it turns everyone into, well, I view these players as my personal avatar for fighting against my boss. And I don't have any interest in talking about that. But talking about him on the floor rules.
Yeah, and especially when he's like into it, because you know we've seen him on the floor when he's not into it.
He's played pretty good. You know, it's like the defensive stuff is also worth talking about, because as much as I get pissy at Luka, he's actually been not terrible, and like that's where he's been kicked in the past. Some of his Nets playoff defense was actually really, really bad. So it's interesting to watch right now. I'm excited. I think we should enjoy this as much as we can. Like, my podcast yesterday with my friend Ben Golliver was
that was a good one. Listen to it this morning.
Yeah, but it was also like really him sitting there going, you cannot believe in this. And I get it, because he's just like, look, I've covered the guy since 2010. And all of a sudden he became a little bit of an odd guy, and he seemed to get a kick out of it, and he never went back. And I've been thinking about that all day. But I've also been thinking about the relative point that I brought up to him about, you know, Charks saying to us, you know, me several years ago, he's talking about Tim Hardaway, where he said, when guys reach a certain point in their career, they're no longer worried about some things. They just want to win. And so I've been thinking about that in relation to Kyrie as like the hopeful part of my brain works out. And I'm like, What if he just wants to like win in a I don't want to call it low stakes, but less pressure environment than the Northeast corridor? What
Yeah, I
if?
mean this is easily the least amount of media like attention he's gonna have since he was, I guess, a rookie. Because basically his whole career he's got LeBron, who is, it doesn't matter if LeBron's playing in Oklahoma City, like the center of the NBA universe is wherever LeBron is. And then he goes to Boston, and it's one of the most hallowed franchises in a big media market, with a lot of aggressive and media. And then same thing to Brooklyn, kind of the same situation, not a hallowed franchise, but the biggest media market in probably the world, and aggressive, another market with like a very aggressive, combatish media. And now he's in Dallas, where the Mavericks are the second or third most popular team in the DFW Metroplex. Like the Cowboys get so much of the attention in this area, and he hasn't been like that before. Like Brooklyn, Boston, Cleveland, those are all the teams in those markets, not let alone the market size and playing with LeBron. So this is the first time he's been in a situation where there's not as much media pressure, and we can go back and forth on that all day about whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But I think that's just the truth, and maybe that helps. And maybe that helps to change things. I don't know. We're just kind of grasping at straws because, like you said,
And
the history is the history, right?
And it might work for us.
Well, 4 games, 28 per game, 7 assists, 53% from the floor, 43% from 3. So
yeah,
as advertised. It's just crazy. It's a shame that it's not, that we're going to have the free agency thing hang over all of this, and then potential, waiting for the ticking time bomb of him doing something weird off the court, because it's like we've just been thirsting since they've drafted Luka for them to just have another guy that's like,
well, the weird off the court,
talented.
Like the weird off the court. I just, the more I think about this, and it's like we talked about this a couple days ago when we were talking about kind of the weird stuff that could happen because of ESPN talking about all this. The logic pushes me to think that he will do whatever he can to get the largest contract possible. And then if that's the case, I'm just where I am right now after beating the San Antonio Spurs on an idle Thursday. Okay, I'll deal with that later.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
All right. I don't think we got anything else. Do you?
No, I think we actually got more out of this game than I thought we were when the buzzer sounded.
It's God, basketball can be fun when it's fun.
Right.
All right, so check out Mavs Moneyball. We got our man Jack, who did a recap, getting ready to publish it right now. Been editing it as we've been talking. We got our man Ben, who did a stats post. Check back, as the kind of weekend goes on. I may do a podcast with my friend Anthony Irwin about the Lakers, who are coming into town on Sunday at 2:30. So you will get Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night off. We don't have to cover the Mavericks for several days several evenings in a row. We'll probably have some things up, but we'll see. February is kind of a weird month to do the writing. Check out, previous podcasts. Like we mentioned, Josh and I did one a couple days ago. The one with Ben Golliver was a lot of fun. It's very painful to me because I like have all these national writer friends, and when they're just like, no, and I'm like, but what if? It's like, it sucks, but it's also fun. You got anything else before we go?
No, I'm good. And let's get out of here. And what do we got? Lakers next?
Lakers.
I think.
Yeah, Sunday afternoon.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, that's right. All right, guys, everybody be good. Check out, wait for the live show. That'll be coming probably Friday afternoon. I'm going to go record that now. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we will talk at some point over the weekend. Bye, guys.